Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of College Ball with J Dog. Y'all, we're feeling good today. If you're a Tennessee fan, you gotta be feeling spectacular today. It's a beautiful Sunday in Northeast Tennessee. The Vols finally do it, y'all. We're gonna get into it. I woke up feeling like $1,000,000. Woke up, went to church, praised the Lord, came home, got my baby to bed. Here to make a video, y'all. Hope y'all are feeling as good as I am about last night. Sadly, there's only 1 week in the regular season left, y'all. We didn't quite get the chaos we wanted, but hey, we still drained the swamp, baby. So let's get into it, y'all. We're going to recap week 13. We're going to talk about Mike Norvell, Florida State. Before we get into it, y'all do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If the Vols breaking the streak in the swamp can't get you to subscribe to the channel, I don't know what will. Get in that comment section. Let's quit running their mouths. Let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The Vols break the 10-year drought in the swamp. Go down there, get their first win since 2003. Put the biggest ass whooping that we put on the Gators in years and years and years. We've got some wins over them. They always been close. This one was never in doubt. The Vols belt to ask them. First thing, start to finish. Final score 31-11. Tennessee jumps out to a 31-0 lead in the first half. Josh Heupel feels sorry for him. He sees the fans in the crowd with their shirts over their eyes. Sees them taking their jerseys off, all sitting up there looking sad. And he says, you know what? I'm going to take it easy on them. We could have beat them like ETSU. The Heupel said, damn, they done fired their coach. They lost out on Lane Kiffin. Let's not make it too bad on them. So he took it easy on the dirty swamp rats in the second half. But he went down there, gave the reptiles reptile dysfunction. Put the biggest volcano whoop ass on them that you could have imagined. From start to finish, y'all. I cannot emphasize that enough. From start to finish. When is the last time Tennessee put an ass whooping on Florida from start to finish in a game? Had to be when the series started. The guy on the radio said it kicked off 36 years ago with the Tennessee ass whooping, and it ended with the Tennessee ass whooping because we don't play them every year no more, which absolutely breaks my damn heart, y'all. We should play the Gators every year. Absolutely should play the Gators every year. They gave us Kentucky instead. The governor of Florida wasn't happy about it either. He said getting blown out in the swamp by Tennessee equals rock bottom for the Gators. I remember the days when even someone like Peyton Manning didn't have a chance against UF in the swamp. Frustrating for the fan base. As much as I love beating the absolute brakes off them boys, we felt this kind of pain for 15, 20 years, y'all. It's good to be on the other side finally. We got a 2-game winning streak, the first winning streak we've had against Florida since 03-04. So over 20 years since we've won 2 in a row against them. And from 2005 until Josh Heupel was hired in 2021, we won 1 game against Florida. Since Heupel's been hired, he's 3-2. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care what it is. It's Tennessee versus Florida. How many times we went down to the swamp with the Bear team and got beat? A lot. How many times we've been in Knoxville with the Bear team and got beat? A lot. Heupel is flipping the culture. He's flipping the script in some of these rivalry games. The last 4 years, I'm not counting his first year because he took over an absolute mess. 63 scholarship guys. Still turned it into a 7-6 season. Could have been 9-3. without the refs screwing us a couple times. But anyway, so his second year on, after inheriting an absolute mess in a program he's still rebuilding, we got a chance to win 10 games for the third time in 4 years, y'all. There's still some of y'all out there slandering this man's name. Talking about he's not the man for the job. Oh, he's Tennessee's James Franklin. This is year 5 in a freaking complete rebuild. When he took this job, there was people that said we wouldn't even be competitive until year 4 or 5. And we're trying to win 10 games for the third time in 4 years. The man can coach football. The man's the best coach we've had in years. I hope he stays as long as he's alive. And one thing I forgot to leave out, y'all. DJ Lagway in Florida was so nice last night that he was celebrating us kicking their ass for him. He was happy for us too. Look at this. 28-0, a 2-minute warning. He's sitting there celebrating for us. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing when the Florida players are celebrating for the Vols. Really, he had like a 30-yard run. They still didn't score. In y'all's best case scenario last night, nobody seen 31-0 going into halftime. I'm soaking it in. I'm enjoying it. Now we got to damn square off with Diego Pavia and Vandy. And apparently Theo Vaughn, who's always with his mom now. Theo was a Tennessee fan. Now he's hanging around Vandy all the time. Which one is it? We still got a chance to go ruin their season. Our playoff hope's probably over, more than likely. But Vandy's ain't. Vandy just needs a couple losses next week. We can go ruin their season after Pavia talked all that shit all off season. Tennessee, fuck them guys. We can beat them any Saturday. We're going to run the state. Blah, 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 blah. Vandy comes to Knoxville Saturday. Y'all better raise hell. Knock Vandy out of the playoffs. They might not make it regardless. But if you win, they damn sure ain't. Shut Pavia up. Go to a bowl game, get another 10-win season, and let Heupel just keep ascending up, y'all. Until the 5 and 10% of the fan base has a problem with Heupel, shut the hell up. Plain and simple. How quick people forget how bad it can be. He's in year 5 of a complete, utter, just rebuild, y'all. He was 23 guys short of a full roster his first year. And with the blue chip ratio just keeps climbing, keeps climbing, keeps climbing. This team gets more talented every year. He's beaten some of these teams he's beaten has a way better blue chip ratio than he does. The Bamas when he's beat them, LSU, Florida. These teams, we're finally starting to recruit ahead of some of them. Or closer and closer to them. Within the next 2 years, when Heupel finally gets up there, y'all that's talking that James Franklin shit will eat your words. Let's keep it rolling, y'all. There was more games in Tennessee and Florida. I'm just fired up. We finally got it done. Let's travel out to Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, y'all. USC went into Oregon. They put up a pretty good fight. Oregon returned a punt at one point, made it 14 points. USC never recovered. They could only get it within one score after that. Oregon clinches their spot in the playoff. USC will fall. Tennessee will probably jump USC. I say Tennessee be the 18-17 range when the playoff rankings come out Tuesday. USC, after the game, they asked Lincoln Riley about him taking another job or whatever. He did not like that. He's flipping that program around, y'all. I think within the next couple of years, Lincoln Riley will be competing at the top of the Big Ten. He finally realized you got to play defense, all that. They're not quite there yet, but you can't turn it around in a year or two. I think they've got the number one recruiting class right now, too. Dan Lanning, Oregon, take care of business, y'all. Lanning hasn't made there, just like he said on game day. He's going to be there forever. He's got Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, saying, hey, I'm writing blank checks. I want to see a championship in football before I die. Why would Lanning leave? He plays in the Big Ten, where there's 3-4 good teams every year, and the rest are garbage. So you're at Oregon, you got a man writing checks, basically guaranteed a spot in the playoffs every year unless you just have an absolutely egregious coaching job, and that's probably not going to happen under Lanning. He's got it made at Oregon. Oregon clinches their spot in the playoffs. Even if they lose next week to Washington, they're probably squarely in. Missouri traveled to Norman, y'all, and they laid an absolute egg. Drakewitz, if he can't run the ball, he can't win. He literally went into Oklahoma and thought he could run the ball 80% of the time. If you want to run 60, 65, that's fine. But I mean, this man just ran the ball and ran the ball and ran the ball. First drive, it worked. They put together about an 8.5-minute drive. Only ended with a field goal. Field goals don't beat Oklahoma, y'all. Oklahoma wins 17-6. It was a defensive battle. All Oklahoma has to do now is beat LSU. They're in the playoffs. The way LSU played against Western Kentucky last night, it's like they phoned it in too. They beat Western Kentucky by like 3 points last night, y'all. They're looking where they're going to transfer, if Kiffin's going to be their coach and decide what they want to do. They've mailed it in. So what happens when you pay players money? You fire your coach, season's over, they don't give a shit. They'll go make money somewhere else or they'll stay, and you got to pay them regardless of what effort they put out. It is what it is. Oklahoma one win away, man. Oklahoma has had teams hand them game after game after game. Tennessee handed it to them. Alabama handed it to them with turnovers. If teams would just protect the football against Oklahoma, Oklahoma would not be where they're at. But Oklahoma's also went out and made them plays. I'm just thinking about what could have been right now, y'all. Notre Dame was up 21-0 before they even took an offensive snap, y'all. You know how insane that is? They beat Syracuse 70-7. Syracuse is decimated by injuries, y'all. They lost their quarterback in the Clemson game. Whenever he was leading the nation in passing, up there in pass touchdowns, he absolutely smoked Clemson. Syracuse is looking like they can make another run at a 8, 9, 10 win season in the ACC. Then he went down. The backup quarterback, Ricky Collins, absolutely atrocious, y'all. How he ever even got to LSU is beyond me. Just decimated by injuries on defense, offense, everywhere. Notre Dame literally had a pick six, a punt return, another pick six before their offense even got on the field. This game was over. That's how crazy that game was. When you're down 21-0 and the other team's offense ain't even been on the field, that's some wild shit, y'all. Well, here's one of the teams we needed to lose last night, y'all, and it didn't happen. BYU goes into Cincinnati, gets a win. They was up 10-7 at halftime. Took over the second half. They win the game 26-14. Running the ball down Cincinnati's throat. Their running back ran for 222 yards. BYU just keeps getting doubted every week. They just keep on winning, besides against Texas Tech. And if Texas Tech is healthy, nobody in the Big 12 is beating them. They're just a notch above everybody else. Let's call it what it is. Then I thought we was about to get a little bit of that chaos to just help us get up to about that 15 range, y'all. That's where we was wanting to get, was about 15 yesterday. Utah pulls one out of their ass against Kansas State. I told y'all on my freaking preview video, on my prediction video, that 17.5 point spread went up to 18.5. But there's no way in hell Utah covers that against Kansas State. Because Kansas State had a down year. Absolutely. But they've been playing better ball as of late. They had Utah's ass beat. They was up by 10 with like 8 minutes left. And Utah drives down the field. Then Kansas State tries to run the damn football, milk the clock, even though they had timeouts. They give the ball back to them with over 2 minutes left. Utah busts a big run, wins the game. I was heartbroken over that, y'all. It was a hell of a game, y'all. 51-47. Nobody really scores 47 points on Utah. Kansas State was running it down their throat. Kansas State's running back had 10 carries for 223 yards at halftime. They blew it at the end. Had a chance to help my Vols out, get back in that right up there where Vandy might could have jumped up there close and even, but it didn't happen. We did get a little help. And Vandy absolutely beat the shit out of Kentucky yesterday. Kentucky's so hot and cold, man. 1 week they looked really good, like they could hang with about anybody. Then the next week they look like this. Tennessee beat the brakes off of them. Then they beat Auburn. Then they beat Florida. They had Texas beat. And then they go to Vandy and get beat 45-17. It was never a game. It was 24-3 at halftime. Diego Pavia, Vandy, that close to getting a playoff berth. They may not get it. Even if they beat Tennessee Saturday, they may not get it. Which would be absolutely insane that a 10-2 SEC team don't get in the playoffs. When you got a freaking Big 12 team with 2 losses ahead of them. Blows my damn mind. We'll see what the community puts out this week before we get into anything. Tennessee has a chance to play spoiler next week against the man that ran his mouth about us all offseason. I love it. I'm fired up for y'all. Pitt gave the Vols a little help. They went into Georgia Tech 42-28. They jumped on Georgia Tech early, 21-0. Then Georgia Tech cut it down to a 1-score game. Pitt busts off one more run. Georgia Tech's been, you can watch all my old videos. Georgia Tech's been on fraud alert all year. Their schedule is why their record is the way it is. They haven't had to play none of the top teams in the ACC. How you get away with that is beyond me. But these schedules are so uneven in these conferences now where there's so many teams in. Just the way it goes nowadays, I guess, y'all. Georgia Tech officially probably out of the playoffs. I mean, let's call it what it is. They got Georgia next week. Georgia's one of the hottest teams in the country again, peaking at the right time. We've got Arkansas heading into Austin, y'all. This was a really good game for a while. The third quarter is where Texas flipped this game. Taylor Green got hurt. It was all over but the crying after that. 52-37. There was literally 89 points scored in this game. The over-under was 57.5, y'all. So the Texas almost covered that by themselves. If you watch Arkansas play all year, you know they have no defense. They got great offense. No defense. They got the biggest loss Arkansas's had all year. They've had a bunch of really close games. I think that one would have stayed really close if Taylor Green didn't get hurt, but Texas has a big matchup next week. They go on the road to number 3, Texas A&M. It's going to be a wild weekend, y'all. Michigan handled business. 45-20, one of the first spreads they've covered in weeks. Looks like they're ready for the big fight next week, y'all. Maryland started the season like 4-2 or something. and they've not won a game since. They've lost 5 in a row, I think. They just didn't have the depth. They got decent starters. They got a really good freshman quarterback. Bryce Underwood had his best day throwing the ball yesterday, really, too. Setting up a Michigan-Ohio State game. Michigan, even if they win, would it put them in the playoffs? It's hard to tell. But if they do win, that would make them play Indiana in the Big Ten championship, I'm pretty sure. The way the tiebreakers work, from what I read and saw, Michigan would be in the Big Ten championship game, so they'd have to beat Ohio State. Even if that don't put them in, you beat Indiana, you're in. Y'all, this week, you got games Friday and Saturday. Don't forget that. This week coming up. We got a lot of big games still. A lot of chaos could come. I'm ready for it. It's sad as hell, though, ain't y'all? It's so damn sad that we got one last regular season week of college football. We wait on this all year long, and it flies by way too fast. Wisconsin, after getting drummed week after week after week, has pulled off a couple of wins down the stretch. Illinois coming into the season as a top 10 team. Everybody with the half of a brain knew that they is fraudulent. Everybody. They got hyped up after beating South Carolina in the bowl game last year. That's how they got hyped up, because they beat South Carolina in the bowl game. Unfortunately, you can't base stuff off of bowl games anymore. Back in the day, before all this portal, NIL shit started, and players setting out bowl games to get ready for the draft, a lot of teams use bowl games to springboard themselves into the next season. Now, not so much. Wisconsin beat them 27-10, y'all. Good Lord. Illinois really fell off the map, y'all. They got the shit beat out of them by Illinois. They got the shit beat out of them by Ohio State. Can't remember who else they lost to. Washington. Yeah, Washington. Then they lose to lowly Wisconsin. Wisconsin's bringing Fickle back next year. Said they're investing more money in the football program. Seems like they've been playing better since then. We'll see how that goes. Another one of the ranked upsets that happened yesterday. TCU went into Houston, knocked Houston out of the Big 12 playoff, Big 12 title game hunt. 17-14. Still, TCU 7-4 now. Houston's 8-3. Still, the job that Willie Fritz has done at Houston, y'all, has been really good. They won 3 or 4 games last year. And he's turned that program around quick. And as of right now, on 24/7, he's got the #1 player in the country. That quarterback committed to his school. Willie Fritz is getting looked over for some of these bigger jobs, and he's going to end up getting one. He's going to end up getting one. It might not be a team like Alabama or Georgia, Tennessee, something like that, but like an Arkansas, somebody like that. If Willie Fritz got a job there, he would be a really good coach for them. Arkansas is on the verge of making their hire too, y'all. We'll talk about that. Tulane, did they put a stranglehold on that G5 playoff spot? I don't know. 37-13 against Tulane. They's only favored by 7.5. Jake Retzlaff had a great game. He threw for 2 touchdowns, rushed for another. Tulane's a really good G5 team, but James Madison's getting disrespected in all this, y'all. James Madison has 1 loss. They did struggle a little bit against Washington State yesterday. They's favored by 2 scores. Only won by 3. But they're sitting there with 1 loss still in the group of 5, while Tulane's is sitting up there with the damn playoff spot. I'm not sure who they play next week. We'll talk about that tomorrow when we do our preview. But things still got a little while to get interesting, y'all. Dion told Colorado fans, He's the man for the job. You just got to give him one more time. Man, it's looking doom and gloom out there in Boulder, y'all. They got beat 42-17. I mean, they've gotten beat bad, y'all, every single week almost. They fall to 3-9 in year 3, y'all. If they lose next week, they'll be 3-9. So in year 3, you regress from 9-4 to maybe 3 wins, even 4. If you get to 4, so that'll be 4-8, 9-4, 3-9, 4-8. I know Colorado was winning 1-2 games before Dion got there, but how much improvement's really happened besides this year with his son and Travis Hunter? Yeah, they had a pretty decent year. I just don't. I don't know. I don't think Coach Prime is a top level head coach, y'all. I think he's a really good motivator for players, but I just don't think he's quite the X and O guy that he thinks he is. Colorado knew when they hired him that it was mostly just to get the fans back into it, maybe bring in some recruits and stuff. His whole problem is he's going about building his team wrong. He's doing like 60%, 70% transfer portal. He don't recruit high school hardly. And the guys he does try to recruit out of high school, he don't do in-home visits. He says, I'm Coach Prime, you got to come to me. So, I don't know. I think when he got hired, he said he's doing 20% high school, 20% JUCO, 60% transfer portal. You just can't build a culture. You can't build continuity. You can't do that. I'm not going to shit on Coach Prime. He's had a lot of problems last year. He's had toes cut off. He's had his bladder removed. He had cancer, all that. I really just, if he has a bad year next year, he'll probably just hang it up and relax and watch his son in the NFL and stuff. I mean, that's just go enjoy life. He shouldn't have went into Colorado the way he did, though. I'm bringing my Louis with me. Get out. You might as well hit the transfer portal because I'm bringing my guys with me. Y'all ain't shit. Well, 2 of your 3 years there ain't been much better than what they was before. And they was in a harder conference then. The Pac-12 was way harder than the Big 12. So he's getting easier competition and barely winning more games. Florida State says they're keeping Mike Norvell for next year, y'all. I thought for sure he'd be the next coach fired. The statement they put out earlier in the year sounded like at the end of the year he'd be fired. Well, they decided against it. In a statement, University President Richard McCullough said he, Athletic Director Mike Alford, and Board of Trustees Chairman Peter Collins were in complete agreement that changes are needed for our program to improve. Coach Norvell embraces our support in that process and agrees that success must be achieved. He continues to demonstrate an unwavering belief in this program's future, and so do we. This decision reflects a unified commitment to competing in the rapidly evolving landscape of college football while maintaining continuity within the program. Sources said more resources would be placed into recruiting and the roster, and changes would be made to the personnel department to allow Norvell the best chance to succeed. Had Florida State moved on from Norvell, they had owed him $54 million. Norvell's another guy, y'all. He's not building his team right. He barely recruits high school. He uses all portal. And with him basically having one more year to fix that, that's not something you can fix in 1 year. Considering this year's recruiting's over, basically, you got signing day in a month, and you got the portal in January. He's going to have to use the portal again. He's got a 38-33 record, so he's barely over 500 at a program like Florida State. In a conference like the ACC, where he should easily, with Florida State's resources, win 7, 8 games a year. But instead, he's a loss away from Florida for being his third losing season in 5 years. A lot of those 38 wins come in 2 seasons. He had a 9-3 season, or 9-4, and then a 13-1. That's 22 of those 38 wins in 2 seasons out of 5. I thought for sure Florida State would move on. Everybody's moving on this year. Get out there, get a coach, try something different. They're sticking with Norvell. I think it's kind of like the Florida situation. They're going to stick with Norvell, and they'll be firing him 3-5 weeks into next season. Because he showed you basically what he does don't work. He had one blip in the midst of a bunch of bad years. Because when you go through the portal, you can't hit. But it's rare you can hit that many guys to change a roster into a title contender in one offseason. They started the season with the win against Alabama. And they've only won 4 games since then. They lost 21-11 to North Carolina State Friday night. They got the Gators next week. And Florida, with Florida State keeping Norvell, if Florida actually hires a good coach, they have a chance to solidify themselves as the second school in that state for the next few years while Florida State keeps fooling around with Norvell. Miami's obviously number 1 now. Florida and Florida State's both down. If Florida makes a good hire and they have a decent year next year and Florida State sucks again, Florida can ascend to that number 2 spot in the state. And Florida State's going to get left behind. They'll be left to take what Florida State and Miami, or what Florida and Miami don't want out of the state. And I know there's enough talent to go around, but once Florida and Miami get their pick, Florida State's going to be left with whatever. Not that it matters, because Florida State don't recruit high school right now. But when they do hire a coach, he's going to be behind the 8 ball because they kept waiting around on Norvell to do something he's probably not going to do. I don't like Florida State, so it don't bother me them being down, but other schools are making moves. And you're just going to keep sticking to the same thing that ain't worked. I know you say you're making changes, you're doing this. Well, 1 year is not time to start recruiting high school and building the program right. I'd bet anything, I'd bet somebody $100 that Norvell's fired by week 8 next year. Florida tried it with Napier. It just don't work. After 4 or 5 years, you see that it's not going to work. Arkansas is down to Golish is one of them. I can't remember what 4 coaches it is, but from the sound of it, it sounds like Golish is going to Arkansas, y'all. Golish would be a hell of a hire for Arkansas. Some people are making fun of it. But Golish runs the same type of system Heupel does. And what Golish has done in South Florida, he took over a program that was winning 2-3 games a year. So Golish could get Arkansas. He might not make them a national title contender unless Arkansas really invests. But if he goes to Arkansas, wins 8-9 games a year, that's way better than what Arkansas's been getting, y'all. Before we close this episode out, y'all, I just want to say it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. I said it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. And it's great to beat the shit out of the Gators in the swamp for the first time since I was 12 years old, y'all. 12 years old. I love it. If there's any news on coaching, anything, we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll preview the week, go over some different things. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. If you did, hit that subscribe button for me. Get in that comment section, smash that like button. Hope y'all have a blessed Sunday. Hope you had a great college football Saturday. God bless you, and go Vols.